what's going on? This is TwoHeadedFlounder. Welcome back to another live deck profile. Today we're actually going to be taking a look at Nidoqueen. I have some really gross sleeves on these. I do apologize. This is still in the testing phase. It's pretty much almost close to being done testing, but yeah, I just haven't put them in new sleeves yet because I'm still playing around with them a lot, so I apologize for the gross sleeves. Anyway, Nidoqueen is a really good card in my opinion, and I've been working on this one for a while, and this is the most recent current one I've come up with, and this one seems to be working out pretty well. So, Nidoqueen is a stage 2 with 160 HP, which is actually a pretty good number to be at right now, especially because Choice Band will not affect Nidoqueen, so a lot of cards actually don't manage to one-shot this very easily, so that's very nice. Queen's Call is a fantastic ability where you essentially get to search your deck for a non-EX, GX Pokemon, put it into your hand, so you can grab an evolution, a basic, it doesn't matter. And then we have Power Lariat, 10 plus, 50 more for each evolution Pokemon on your bench, so of course we're going to be playing a whole bunch of evolution Pokemon, hence this being an evolution box deck. So this has the potential of one-shotting everything in the game, and we're going to try and do that. So, that being said, of course, if we're playing for Nidoqueen, we're playing for Nidoran. It just makes sense. Call for Family is actually worth mentioning. If you need to stall in the early game, just use Call for Family and hope for the best. It also can be useful if you go second or anything like that, so it's nice to have. Playing one Nidoran, not really worth mentioning. It's really just here to evolve. I'm not entirely sure if you even need this card. Sometimes I have it and I'm just so happy I do, and other times I'm just kind of like, okay, Nidoran is in my deck still, so it depends on what you kind of think about that. And then, of course, our 4 Nidoqueen. But this is an evolution box deck, so we gotta get in some other random things in here. So we're actually playing a 2-2 Salazzle line. I'm actually playing this Salandit at the moment because a lot of people are actually starting to play Celebi Venusaur more. And because of that, I really like the Grass Fire attack, discard a Grass Energy from your opponent's active. It hits them for a little bit of weakness, which I guess is kind of nice, but it's really just about discarding their energy and making them, you know, have to take an extra turn to attach more energy and stuff, so I really like this a whole lot. But this is really why we're playing it, just to evolve. We're playing 2 of these Slazzles from Unborken Bonds. Roast Reveal. Once during your turn before you attack, you may discard a Fire Energy card from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. So this is our main draw support essentially in the deck. We have supporters, but this is going to be our go-to use with Fire Energy, and of course we're playing Fire Energy in the deck, so this is actually a really nice thing. And people are going to be too preoccupied with these to really try and knock out these. I mean, you're going to be in a weird situation, maybe if you're not drawing anything, they're going to target this down, but most of the time they're going to target down your main attacker and lead these, so these will probably be up the majority of the game. Next up, we are actually playing a 1-1-1 line of Incineroar from Unbroken Bonds. So the Strong Chair ability essentially is your opponent's active Pokemon does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. You can't apply more than one of this ability at a time, so that's why we're playing 1. And it's a nice little additional attacker, being that we have Fire Energy in the deck, and it can hit for Fire Weakness on Metal or Grass Pokemon for 120 times 2, 240. So it's actually pretty solid because the ability applies to the damage, bring it to 120, and it only costs 2 and you discard 1. I like it a lot. 160 is also, again, a good number to be at. We're playing this copy of Torracat because Claw Sash can be used with triple acceleration energy, which we are playing in the deck, so that's nice. And I guess Roar can be used to stall. And it doesn't really matter what lane you play. I'm playing the Catterday one just because we can draw a card with it. So that's about it. Very useful card, though, for allowing Nidoqueen to hit more numbers, because when that is in play, Nidoqueen's actually hitting for 80 more damage as opposed to just the 50. We're playing a 1-1 line of Meganium. This is going to allow us to pretty much cheat some of our Pokemon into play. What I really like about the deck is you can use Nidoqueen's Queen Call ability to grab a basic, and then use the other Nidoqueen's ability to grab another Nidoqueen, or another, maybe Incineroar or something, and then just use Meganium's ability to Rare Candy into it right away. And that's really awesome. And of course we're playing the 70 HP Chikorita. And lastly, we got a lot of Pokemon that evolve in the deck, so of course we're playing Ditto. This is another reason why I still play Nidorina, because I can evolve Ditto into Nidorina if need be. Can also evolve into Torracat for Incineroar or into Salazzle immediately, so it still has a pretty good use in the deck, but unfortunately you can't rare candy this card into a Stage 2, and that's the only problem. So sometimes this is just going to stay in your deck and never be played, but other times it's going to be like down right away evolved, so it's a nice card to have. Moving on to our supporters, we're actually playing 4 copy of Lily. So Lily is pretty good. This is only because we are trying to get turn 1 Lily that we are playing for. Other than that, I think with Salazzle, we have a pretty good draw engine. But yeah, I really just like the ability to draw multiple cards in the first turn, try to get a low hand, draw 8, and go from there, get some more stuff, maybe have some rare candies for the next turn, do a whole lot of stuff. So this is a very, very nice card to have. We're playing 3 copies of Guzma. You're probably not going to Guzma a lot in this deck because you're probably just going to be attacking the active Pokemon, whatever it may be, every turn. But it's just a nice card to have. It's going to have the ability to get one of your clunkier guys out of the active. We have a 2 retreat cost, a 2 retreat cost, a 3 retreat cost. So it's always a nice little benefit, but also targeting down something if we can. We have 2 copies of Welder. So Welder is a new card from Unbroken Bonds that is great for accelerating fire energy, but it doesn't say you have to attach it to a fire Pokemon. It says attach 2 fire energy cards from your hand to one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw 3 cards. So effectively this could be just 3 energy in 1 turn on a Nidoqueen. This could be powering up an Incineroar for free. It does a whole lot. This is a great card. And it also gives the benefit of being able to draw 3 cards. So it's not like, oh, I really need to draw cards this turn. It's like I get to attach a lot of energy and draw 3 cards. This is a fantastic card overall. And lastly, for our supporters, we're playing only 2 Cynthia. Cynthia is a good card, don't get me wrong, but we have Salazzle, Lily, we have Heat Factory in the deck. We're going to be drawing a whole lot of cards, and Cynthia just really doesn't do it that well. It's still useful, still very important card to have in the deck, but maybe not so much as some of the other cards. We're playing 1 Heat Factory. You can only play 1, so of course, but this is the only seating in my deck currently. If you want to, I'm sure you can drop a few cards. I'm definitely going to tell you some cards later you can drop for something like Shrine of Punishment, which will definitely be useful in this deck, but once during your turn, if you either player wants to discard a fire energy from their hand, they can draw 3 cards. It's just nice to have, and with this and Salazzle, you draw in 6 cards in a turn without having to play a supporter, so that's actually pretty nice. Moving on to our items, we're playing 4 copies of Rare Candy, because even though we have Meganium, this is the way we get Pokemon into play, so just having the ability to skip evolutions is always going to be nice, and it's right here. So, of course, that's a staple for this deck. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Ultra Ball. Oh, I messed that up. Ultra Ball is less important in this deck, but still important enough to be played. Because Nidoqueen's ability is super good, and that means we don't have to discard anything. But Ultra Ball is good for discarding things, so we can use Lily, or just grab the Pokemon that we might need. Maybe we need to grab the Nidoqueen in the first place, maybe we need to grab Meganium so we can evolve multiple Pokemon in a turn. Just a nice card to have. We're playing 3 copies of Nest Ball. This is to grab out the basics as soon as possible. It's deck thinning. It's an easy card to just play right away, so of course it's going to be in the deck. We're only playing 2 Choice Band, so the deck does a lot of damage on its own. Incineroar is technically a permanent Choice Band, so this isn't actually a necessity. It's just a nice thing to have to help hit some of those numbers if we don't have a full evolved bench, so this is really nice. 2 Rescue Stretcher. Sometimes you're going to want to just use the ability to draw, put 1 Pokemon from discard pile into your hand so you can rare candy into it right away. And sometimes you're going to want to shuffle 3 Pokemon into your deck, so having 2 is just a nice little way to get around that option. We're playing 2 copies of Energy Retrieval. So essentially this is going to help Welder. So say if we discarded 2 Fire with 2 Salazzle or a Heat Factory in a turn, but we drew into a Welder, well, we can go ahead and Energy Retrieval, use Welder. I think it's a nice little synergistic card for that. Also really allows us to reuse our abilities and Heat Factory too, so it's nice. And lastly, for items, we are playing a Pal Pad. It just allows us to get some cards like Guzma, Cynthia, or Welder back. We're probably never going to be targeting Lily unless we have to, but yeah, it's just a nice card to have. Moving on to Energy, we are playing 8 copies of Fire Energy. So we're playing 8 because, again, Welder is very useful, but we're going to be discarding energy so much, and we need a little bit of energy to discard with things like Salazzle and Heat Factory. So playing that is a pretty good amount. I was at 7 before, but the 8th one really amplifies the deck a whole lot. And lastly, we are playing 4 copies of Triple Acceleration Energy. This is just going to allow us to effectively use Nidoqueen's attack in one turn, Torcast's attack in one turn. So it's a nice little card to have. How you use this though is it will actually be discarded after you attack, which is actually in somewhat ways a nice thing, because if we keep it, Gardevoir could attack us for an easy one-hit knockout, but we lose it, so they have to have a lot of energy to knock us out. So things like that is actually kind of good, but we want to keep this. Unfortunately, we can't, so we are playing 4. I think that Wigglytuff in the Unborken set could actually be useful in the deck for grabbing these back, but I'm not really interested in trying that one out. 4 seems fine. Welder and attaching in one turn also works very well, so this is very nice. And this can only be attached to an evolution Pokemon, so that's why Nidoqueen makes really, really good use of this. So that's going to be the deck. What did you guys think? I like the whole deck a lot. We're going to be playing with it as soon as Unbroken Bonds is legal, and I'm looking forward to it a whole lot. This is my personal project. It's working out very well so far, and I hope for the best for it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.